What is up everyone, welcome back to another top 10 video where this time we're going to be counting down the best plays from the first week of competition in the fourth and final stage. Now this is a particularly intriguing week as not only did we see the final shift in map pool, but we also saw the introduction of a brand new, rather turbulent meta ushered in by Brigida? Ushered in by Hero27, a new character that largely shuts down popular dive compositions. There were a lot of questions going into the first week of competition, such as what kind of compositions would cement themselves, which teams would benefit the most from her addition, and so on and so forth. With each team having battled it out twice under the new conditions now, it's safe to say that most are still trying to find their footing and likely will be for the next week or two. So as we break down the top plays this week, keep in mind that certain players rose above the rest in a difficult period where the most efficient tactics are yet to materialize. But with that, let's jump right into things with the play in our 10th spot. Kicking things off this week, we have a great Rhine play from Sado of the Philadelphia Fusion. Hot off of a 30-match suspension, the Fusion wasted no time integrating Sado into the lineup and coming away with only a single map loss to their name all week. Sado was instrumental in handing Boston their first regular season loss since the 10th of March, but his most noteworthy play came from the series against the Florida Mayhem. Some sneaky positioning allowed for a surprise Earthshatter that dropped 3 members of the Mayhem and led to a rapid teamfight win on Oasis. It's a ballsy play whenever Orion goes for a stealth shatter, but it clearly paid off here for the Fusion as they handily win the teamfight and the series.
Back of that, they will have a shatter, flank shatter behind! Oh, beautiful!
In at number 9 this week, we stick with the exact same series and pick up just a few engagements later as the Mayhem approach the point for the final time. Flanking around to the left of the Mayhem, Carpe takes down the opposing Zenyatta before activating his Deadeye to take down 3 more. Carpe was on fire all week as we'll continue to see throughout the list, but this play in particular was exceptional as Carpe notes the conclusion of Zuppe's Transcendence, wraps around to find the kill, and ensures that his Deadeye makes quick work of the remaining competition thanks to the damage boost from Neptuno. A swift team kill brings about a close to the first phase of Oasis as Philadelphia look to dominate the stage standings once again. Coming in at number 8, we have an extremely close teamfight that only narrowly goes in favor of the Valiant thanks in large part to the heroics of Agilities. As the first phase of Lijiang Tower draws to a close, both teams have massive ult economies in which to work with. Sneakily separating from the rest of his team, Zunba flanks up high and drops a potentially devastating Graviton into the mix. Collecting 3 members of the Valiant, Space answers back with a Graviton of his own. Meanwhile, above the chaos, both Pharaohs activate their ultimates just moments apart with Agilities coming out on top thanks to his elevation, pun intended. He shuts down the opposing barrage and wipes out those caught in the black hole. A pivotal ultimate as the remaining members of Seoul were unable to even so much as contest the point and trigger overtime. In at number 7, we jump back into things with the Philadelphia Fusion as they execute on a really unique play. Controlling the high ground as Boston attempt to advance the payload underneath, Sado dives into the bottom right corner of your screen, positioning himself into the small room. Immediately we can see every member of Boston in Sioux Chase as typically a lone Winston equals a free kill, right? Not in this case however, as EQO activates his Riptire and takes down both supports as a result. It's rare that you see a bait of this kind actually work at the highest level of competition, but Philly pulled it off, demonstrating an exceptionally rare play without even needing to sacrifice Sado in the process. Coming in at number 6, we have 2 ridiculous Dragon Blades coming out from the same map between San Francisco and Seoul. To open up point B in their very first push, Architect of the San Francisco Shock goes to work with his Dragon Blade, picking up 4 quick eliminations for his efforts and entirely removing Seoul from the objective. Answering back in what very well could have been their final push of their attacking phase, Fleder of the Seoul Dynasty steps up and finds 3 eliminations with a Dragon Blade of his own. He's not done just yet though, as he then goes on to take down Sinatra and a weakened Architect for good measure. The one-upmanship was certainly prevalent throughout this series, and these 2 plays demonstrate just that.
Sinatra finds him, and that's gonna be it! This is when Architect feels like it's time to go! Hashing them all to bits!
In at number 5 this week, we have an absolutely brilliant Diva Bomb from Space of the LA Valiant, who seems to have been taking notes from Poco and learning how to precisely position the ultimate. From Fleder's perspective, you may be surprised as to just how the Diva Bomb actually caught him. He was inside after all, right? While observing the play from a different perspective in the replay, we can see just how insanely precise the ultimate was as it glides through the air and lands elegantly on top of the crates to catch both Gambler and Fleder by surprise. Undeniably one of the more unique spots for a Diva Bomb we've seen in quite some time, as it entirely negates one side of the spawn while still catching those unaware in the room just to the side. An incredible play from Space this week. Coming in at number 4, we have Sire Player putting on a show against the Philadelphia Fusion throughout Horizon Lunar Colony. It's another one of those clips where one player just takes matters into his own hands and decimates the opposition. To start out, he takes down Carpe off screen and forces an early res. He then activates his Infrasight and deletes Neptuno and Carpe before finding the finishing blow onto Sado. A quick reload, and just as his ultimate comes to an end, he grapples up and somehow connects with Boombox as he tries to retreat. An insane display of accuracy yet again from one of the most explosive Widowmakers in the league. Just look at those statistics on the side of your screen. 68% scoped accuracy this far into a match, having only died once, is insane. The potential of Sire Player is just absurd when pieces fall into the right place. In at number 3, we have Jake and Spree combining their efforts as they help propel the Outlaws to a near perfect week. Dropping only a single map across both matches, the greatest highlight of the Outlaws this week came from Lijiang Tower as they demolished the Stage 1 champions in London Spitfire. Attempting to retake the point as the round nears completion, the Outlaws enter from the far side of the point and immediately send forth the Graviton. With nearly every member of the opposing team caught, Jake lets loose and wipes out 4 enemies with his barrage before finding a 5th and all but securing the round win for his team. A really well coordinated play coming out from the Outlaws as they look to go on a run this stage in order to clinch a spot in the season playoffs. Coming in our second spot this week, we have a Dragon Blade that is far more valuable than initially meets the eye. Typically, a Genji ultimate is valued in regard to how many eliminations it can find. In this instance, however, Architect uses his Dragon Blade to find more than just mere eliminations. With both supports in his sight, he activates his ultimate and single-handedly forces out the Transcendence from Shaz. Meanwhile, Silk Thread has his tire cut to pieces as Architect essentially takes down 2 incredibly valuable ultimates with just one of his own. Of course, he's not done just yet though, as he then goes on to take down Surefour and Silk Thread as well. Definitely a play that accomplished far more than just what we see in the kill feed alone. The fact that he was able to pressure the opposing supports and force them to waste valuable ultimates in a pivotal teamfight just speaks volumes to the game sense of Architect. And finally, to close out the list this week, we have none other than Carpe of the Philadelphia Fusion coming out of nowhere to save the point and win the map for his team. As Boston advance towards the objective, note that they have the combination of Rocket Barrage and Graviton Surge at the ready, whilst Philly has absolutely 0 ultimates to their name. Clearly the Uprising had the advantage going in, and they certainly put those ultimates to good use, immediately wiping out both supports for the Fusion as well as Hotbar and Sado shortly thereafter. 4 eliminations in just a split moment. Surely that means the point is all but flipped and Philly will have to wait to retake, right? Well, Boston overlooked one little thing. They may have forgotten that Carpe is capable of single-handedly swinging the momentum of any engagement. He takes down Kalios and Striker from afar before moving in close to take down Kelix and eventually Gamsu as well. The cinematography here was perfect, you'd think it was scripted. Whilst we didn't see the play from Carpe's perspective until much later, just this shot of him standing tall among the pile of bodies is something special. A lone Widowmaker proves lethal as Carpe keeps the point intact and ensures that his team go on to snap the lengthy regular season winning streak of a team that looked all too dominant throughout the last stage. So that's another week of plays in the books. The unique meta has certainly given life to a lot of diversity in just the first week alone, with plenty more action still to come. Which teams do you think will benefit most from the introduction of Brigida? Who do you think will walk away as stage champions this time around? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.